Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Michele Vilsack, and today we are talking about time, right? This is a huge one. I hear all the time, I just don't have time to make healthy food. I don't have time to be healthy. I don't have time to exercise. So how do we get through that barrier? That's what we're talking about today. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Cut the Stress Show, formerly the I Cut the Mustard Show, where you'll learn how to stop stressing, stop stress eating, and finally create the body that you can enjoy forever. If you're ready to lighten up, pun intended, then you're in the right place because you shouldn't have to hate creating the body that you love. Hey, so a couple cool things before we get started. A couple weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago on the podcast, I was talking about my wrist. Remember, I was ranting about how we shouldn't take no for an answer and that there's no harm in believing that things are possible and how much that really helps us move forward and just try things out and create better lives for ourselves. So on that episode, I was talking about how my wrist was hurting and I had kind of ignored it for a long time. But then I finally decided to go to the physical therapist and see if there was something that they could do, right? Don't take no for an answer. Let me just keep trying and see. And then I also mentioned my acne and how that was an issue for me. And I was looking and just opening my mind to the possibility that maybe it could get a little bit better and what can I do about that? So I just wanted to give a little bit of an update because I kind of batch these whenever I create these episodes. I kind of do a lot of them at the same time. So it has been like 3 months, honestly, since that episode. And I wanted to let you know that my wrist is feeling awesome. I am so glad that I just tried and I invested that time in. And it was kind of a cool experience that I wanted to share real quick. But whenever I went to the physical therapist, like I said, I'm like, I'm just not sure if they can even do it, right? Like, are you going to even be able to help me at all? And then they tested stuff and she seemed pretty confident that they'd be able to do something for me. So I said, yes, I'm going to go all in. I'm not going to take no for an answer. And I went for several weeks. We did exercises and I don't know, they kind of torture you in there where they're trying to move stuff around and really push your body to heal. And during that process, about halfway through, I think I'd gone 4 to 6 weeks. I can't remember how long I'd been going. And it just still wasn't really getting better. I was doing the exercises. They were doing various things at the physical therapist, but the pains, it just still hurt, right? I knew I was getting stronger, but the pain was still there. So finally, she decided to do an ultrasound for my wrist, which was amazing. She did the ultrasound and then right after I was able to go down on my knees and do some modified push-ups without pain. And it was like 50% better instantly. And then the next time I came and the next time and the next time, the next several times I came, they did the ultrasound and it just got better and better and better. And I'm almost down to 0 pain. It's like a little bit of a weakness, but I can do push-ups again. I can stretch it in different ways. I can put weight on it and I can lift weights and play with my kids without worrying about it. So I'm so excited. I can do side plank for a whole minute. They enjoyed making me do that several times, right? So I am just so excited. And I just wanted to share that update with you to let you know, number one, that it is totally worth it to just look into it, to try stuff out, not to take no for an answer and just keep investing in yourself. And number two, I just thought it was a really cool analogy, honestly, to going and getting support whenever you need it, right? Like a lot of times. And for most of my health journey, I feel like I've done a lot of it all on my own. And then there's just been little guides along the way that I took pieces from. But this was a time that I had to go. I couldn't do it by myself with the exercises and tools that I had available to me. I couldn't get it done by myself. But when I went to the professional, they gave me a plan. She encouraged me to keep going whenever it didn't look like it was going to work. She used her special tools, the ultrasound, to make it happen for me. And because of that, I was able to heal completely and be have a more amazing, wonderful life. So I just thought that was kind of a cool analogy to coaching as well. Sometimes whenever you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to heal your digestion or something, it's just really frustrating to try to do it on your own. And sometimes that isn't happening and you don't know why, but it's really kind of with that similar to this situation, you can go to the coach, work through that plan together, and use special tools and things that you just can't do on your own in order to finally get the results that you're looking for. So that was a bit of a tangent, but I was excited to share with you. And then on my acne front, not quite as much good news there, but I'm still working on it. It feels a little smoother. I love my microfiber cloth and I don't take a shower without it. So it feels a lot smoother and I love that. It's not gone 100%, but I'm still working on it and I'm going to still believe that it's possible. Okay. So now let's get into the meat of today's podcast. Today we are talking about time. Right? I just recently, I have been trying to create my business and build my business. So I'm been listening to tons of marketing and sales and all kinds of trainings and books and things to just learn as much as I can so that I can get out there and find people and let them know what I have so that I can help them. And one of the trainings that I went to was talking about sales, and he listed some shadow reasons for not purchasing something or not, committing yourself to something. And of course, one of them was time, right? And he was saying time is actually like a shadow reason. It's not the real reason why we don't go purchase something, or in this case, we're going to talk about healthy eating and healthy living, right? The time isn't the real reason that we don't go into the kitchen and make healthy food. And it was really cool. He connected it and he was saying the real reason is desire. Because if you have the desire, you'll make the time to do it. And as I reflected more on that, I thought this is absolutely true for energy as well. So time and energy. Whenever you have the desire to do something, then you're going to create the time to do it, and you're actually going to create the energy to do it too, right? I think I'm just going to go through a couple of examples, but I think we've all felt that this is true in our lives. Am I right? For me, it shows up and I just can't seem to find time to clean the bathroom. That's like my least favorite thing. And I put it off till the last minute. I just don't find time for it. I don't make time for it. And I think that's true in a lot of our health journey, right? When you want to eat healthier, you want to exercise, we have so much trouble making time for those things when we don't have the desire. So another random thought that I'm going to pull in, I think I shared on a podcast before, but I was reading another book called The Big Leap, and his theory is that you can create time, that it's not actually linear, that it's this malleable thing, and that you can create time literally, which I think is kind of a cool meta sci-fi kind of concept. But I was thinking about that concept and this concept that I pulled from sales. And I thought, you know what? That's true though. Whenever we have desire, we can use that desire to create time, and we can use that desire to create energy. And one example that I can think of is in terms of making healthy food. Sometimes I go in the kitchen. I know you're going to be surprised, but sometimes I go in the kitchen. It's the scheduled time that I'm supposed to cut up all my vegetables for the week, and I do not want to. And then I kind of procrastinate a little bit, or I do it halfway, right? I just can't really make time for it. And it makes it feel like it takes so long. Like those days that I make myself do it, I'm just like, oh, this is scheduled time. I just know I need to get this done. Then those days that I stay in that mood, it feels like it takes forever and I just can't concentrate and I don't get as much done. But on the days that I'm excited about it, maybe it's days that the kids are kind of helping me wash stuff, or for some reason I'm excited about a new recipe, whatever it is, then it goes by a lot faster and I'm more focused and efficient. So I guess we could argue that maybe that's not really making time. Maybe that's your perception of time. But however you want to look at it, you create time when you have the desire, right? And we can find time for things when we have the desire, when we feel like it's going to be worth it, when we're excited about it, when it seems like it's going to be fun. So one more quick example that I shared several podcasts ago is how much I love finances, right? We all love to sit down and do our credit card reconciliation, don't we? So that's like my least favorite thing to do. So usually I put it off and it takes me forever to do the finances, forever. And I mentioned in that episode that I took the time to build the desire first. And then because of that, it just totally flew by and I got it done faster than I've ever gotten it done before. And I was actually still energized by the end. I had energy by the end of that experience when usually I'm absolutely drained. And I know you can think of other examples in your life when you're dragging yourself, you're making yourself do it, and it's just making it take forever, and it's miserable, and it's draining your energy, right? And then there's other times when you're excited, and the time flies by, and you get so much done, and you have such a good time, and then you're energized by that experience. So let's talk about how then do we build that desire. If desire is our secret to creating time for the things that we really want to do, and for creating energy for ourselves in our lives, then the secret that we need to know now is how do we build that desire? So I've got a couple of thoughts for you. Number one is to think about what you really want. Right? To think about what this thing is really going to get you. And I've mentioned before in previous podcasts, my 3 power questions, and I'm going to go over them again with you today because they're really awesome. I think they're just kind of a shortcut way of getting yourself to want to, building that desire for the thing that you're wanting to do. So, and I've also prepared a little handout for you that you can print off, and you can put these 3 questions up on your refrigerator or your mirror or wherever you want it to go. So go ahead and check the show notes for that. But I've created this power questions handout so that you can remember what those questions are whenever you need them. All right. So question number 1 then, what I said was, we need to first think about what we really want. So that's what the power questions are designed to do. So question number 1 is, why might I want to do this, right? So again, we're using the power of curiosity to open your mind to what you really want, right? What do I really want? Do I really want to do the finances? No, but I do want a lot of the benefits that come from doing my finances and keeping track of my money, right? Do I really want to cut up vegetables? No, not really. But there's a lot of benefits that I want from having the vegetables all cut up, right? I know that it's going to make my week so much faster. I'm going to eat healthier foods, which is going to make me feel better, have energy. My kids aren't going to be screaming all the time because they're starving and while I'm trying to make food. And you guys all know that I'm obsessed with efficiency. So I know that if I just do it all at one time, then it's going to save me loads of time later. So that's question number 1. Why might I want to do that? Why might I want to do this? Or if it's a case of something that I don't want myself to be doing, like eating a cookie or stealing my kids' Halloween candy or whatever it is, then I'm going to ask myself, why might I not want to do that? Why might I not want to eat the candy? Or why might I not want to eat dessert after dinner? And you just brainstorm. You use that power of curiosity and you brainstorm and figure out what it is that you really want. Okay? And then the second question is just diving in, digging in deeper to that. Question number 2 is, why is that important? So in this question, we're just building on your desire, right? We're just trying to build up that desire by, again, using the power of curiosity. So we came up with a list of why might I want to cut up the vegetables, and I've thought about it and gave you my huge list, right? And then I'm going to look back at that list either on my paper or in my head and say, okay, why are those things important? Why is it important for me to have energy? Why is it important for me to have the snacks already in the refrigerator? And I think I already expanded on some some of them, right? Whenever I have everything cut up in the refrigerator and it's all done, it saves me tons of time. And why is that important? Because then I get to spend that time on other things that I really, really enjoy and want to do. I get to relax, or I get to create something and do a project, or I get to spend time with my kids, right? So the more that I dig deeper, the more that I use that power of curiosity and dig in, then the more desire I'm going to create, right? I'm going to start to want to do that thing. Or in the case of something that I don't want to do, I'm going to remember what I really want. What I really want is a healthy body. What I really want is to relax. And if I eat that cookie, then I'm actually not going to relax. It's going to make me more anxious and depressed and have problems later. And then I tend to beat myself up, right? So I'm just reminding myself what I really want through these questions. So then the last question for those power questions is using creativity, right? We're going to use the power of creativity and just think of what might make this fun, right? Maybe I can make this fun somehow. Maybe I can make it fun to cut up the vegetables. Maybe I can turn some music on and just enjoy it, or listen to my podcast and just not even worry about what I'm doing. Or maybe I get my kids to be involved and we make silly things with the vegetables while we're cooking, so there's ways to make it fun. In the case of the candy example, I was coaching someone recently and she's like, "Ooh, how do I make that fun to not eat candy?" But she was talking about sneaking the candy. So maybe you make it fun by bringing it together and like actually eating it with someone and making it an event. Or we talked about maybe those silly cards that you write with the candy that are like the pun cards. So if you can just pause for a second and open your mind up to creativity, I think you'll come up with something that'll make it fun and then again, increase that desire. So far for building desire, we talked about thinking about what you really want, right? That's the number one thing we can do, is just remember what it is that we really, really want. And you can do that by using those 3 power questions. And again, I got a little handout for you, which is fun. And then the next thing that you can do is to make it fun, which is that 3rd power question. How do we tap into creativity and just think of a way to make it sort of fun? And that'll make the time go by faster too. I mean, you can remember all of those times in school whenever you had a game and it was just a quiz, but because it was a game and it was a little bit of a competition, then magically it was more fun. Right? So then the last suggestion that I have is to also think about what your current action or inaction is costing you. So far on this podcast, we talked about the positive things. How do you tap into what you really want and build that desire? But I think one of the ways that we can also build desire is to remember the negative, to realize what pain the opposite decision is causing you, right? So think about your current action that you want to take or inaction, right? And what is that costing you? So if I am thinking about cutting my vegetables, but I don't want to, right? Or I want to eat healthier, but I don't want to cut vegetables, then I can think about what's my current action actually costing me? What does it mean whenever I continue to not eat healthy foods? When I continue to not cut the vegetables up and eat them, then what is that costing me right now? And what's it going to cost me in the long run? So in the case of eating healthy foods, I know that in the short run, it's costing me energy. It's costing me concentration because I can concentrate so much better whenever I have healthy foods in me. So I'm just thinking of the immediate reasons why I want to eat more vegetables. And then thinking of the long-term consequences. What if I continue to eat unhealthy foods and I don't start eating healthy foods? What's that going to do to my health down the line? What's that going to do to my lifespan? What's that going to do to my energy? And from there, because maybe if I choose my unhealthy path that I'm on right now, maybe I'll gain weight, maybe I won't have as much energy, maybe I'm going to be sick more often. So then later in life, I'm going to have more doctor bills and more medication. I'm going to be spending more time at the doctor's office. I'm going to miss out on family time, right? So all of those things are going to remind me why I want to do this thing, right? So not only am I going to think of the positive, what do I really want? What benefits is it going to get me? And how can I make that fun? But also thinking of And what are the consequences of me not taking action on this goal? So just to sum up real quick, what we talked about today is sometimes we run into the excuse. We give ourselves this excuse that I don't have the time or I don't have the energy to work on my healthy goals, whether it's exercise or eating right, whatever it is, whatever goal. This applies to any goal, right? So sometimes we give our excuse, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to do that. So what we learned today is that that's not the real excuse, right? The real excuse isn't that you don't have time or energy. You do. It's just that you don't want to spend it on that thing, right? So the real reason you're not spending time and energy on it is because you don't have a big enough desire to spend time and energy on it. So the more that you can build that desire, then you create time and energy. Not only do you take time and energy out of your day to actually do it, but whenever you do that thing with a desire, with stronger desire, like you want to, then it's going to take you less time and you're going to be more energized by the end rather than drained from doing what you don't want to do. Here's another reason why we don't do what we don't want to do. Okay. So then we talked about the ways that you can create this desire, right? If the magic bullet is to have desire and be excited about what you're wanting yourself to do, then the secret is to build that desire. So in order to do that, number one, we're going to think about what we really want. What is it that you really want in the long term and honestly in the short term too, by using those power questions. And again, the handout is below if you want to grab it and paste it on your refrigerator. Then finding the fun to just increase that desire. How can you make it fun if nothing else? Which is that third power question. And then the last thing that you can do is think about what your current action or inaction is costing you. So not only thinking about the reason that you want to and the benefits, but also reviewing the costs that it has for you, that your decisions are creating for you, and what costs those are going to have in the long run. So I hope that framework really helps pull some things together for you. Go forth and stop doing what you don't want to do as usual. Build the desire for the things that you are doing so that you can save yourself time and energy and just have more fun with it. And again, go ahead and grab that handout that I created. It's in the show notes, and I'll see you next week. Yoo-hoo! Thanks for joining me. And if you loved this episode, go ahead and share it with a friend and make sure you're subscribed as well so that you can come back here and we can cut the stress together next week.